Hello, readers and friends. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. In my books and every week here, I open up a big piece of my heart and share it for all who care to see. So it may surprise some of you when I say that in many ways I'm a very private person. Today I want to talk about one of the only people in the world who's been able to get in and move around freely behind my privacy screen for half a century. She's someone who has been and is very important to me. I met Renee at our community college decades ago. I was a single mom working part-time, completing courses so I could transfer to UCSC. She was free, fun-loving, and 19 years old. She had just driven from Liberal, Kansas in a Ford Pacer. And I remember riding in that car feeling like I was in a fishbowl. And my son, as much of a sun lover as he was, complained that in the back seat he was getting sunburned because the back window was so big. I was in the cafeteria studying and drinking coffee. And from out of nowhere, this tall, thin young woman approached me. She loomed over me as I looked up from my books. She had a clipped Southern accent, and she couldn't read body language. She couldn't read my body language that said, "Go away, I'm busy." She blew me away in that first meeting. She just kept talking, kept smoking her cigarettes, kept asking me questions, and I kept answering. I never met anyone who could provide answers for me the way she did. I had never met anyone as friendly and as happy as Renee. She was so alive, and I wanted what she had. As our friendship grew, we began to spend more time at my house, and she got to know my son. I'd make dinner, and the three of us would sit around the large pool table in our kitchen, laughing, playing with our food, and teasing each other. She loved my son. She's actually one of only a handful of people these days who knew him, played with him, talked with him, remembers him. It was the 70s, and she was the drinking buddy I'd always wanted. We got alcohol from her local liquor store, and I got carded. She never got carded, even going into a bar. She just acted as if she was 21 years old, and the bartenders, the bouncers, the sales clerk gave her alcohol. It got so bad for me that I asked her to give me bullshitting lessons. I wanted to know how to shuck and jive and have meaningless conversations with people who would give me what I wanted, which is what I saw Renee do. I never did get the hang of the bullshitting, while Renee continued to charm us all. I realized somewhere along the line that making small talk was just not what made me happy. I wanted to have deep, meaningful conversations, of which we had more than our share. In our drunken haze, we'd right the world, figure out what we were going to do with the rest of our lives, how we were going to make it through the semester. Our lives soon got sidetracked, and we lost touch for many years. My life was here, and she enthusiastically followed husband number one to Indiana, where his family owned a chain of furniture stores, and he was to take over the business. And then somewhere along the line, she settled in Arizona, where she met and married husband number two, with whom she had a child. Renee had a successful career in sales, no surprise, raised her beautiful girl, and maintained a mutually supportive relationship with her ex. And she began to have a lot of health issues, serious ones like brain tumors and strokes. She lost the sight of one eye after surgery. I'm not sure how we reconnected. I just remember that when we did, after almost 20 years, nothing had changed, although everything had changed. The biggest change was that we both got sober, unbeknownst to the other. That first phone call after that long absence was like we had just talked last week. Our friendship was that easy to slip back into. This area is important to her. It's the first place she moved to as an adult, and she bonded with the couple who became her surrogate parents and her daughter's grandparents. She stayed with them during her visits, and we got together. Several times her daughter came and we hung out, having dinner, talking, teasing, like we had with my son many years ago. The last time I saw her, we spent the afternoon at Whole Foods where we met for lunch. She was exploring becoming vegan and quitting sugar. You must understand, Rini loves her sugar. It wasn't going to be easy for her. I had coffee and pastries while she virtually chose a spinach and quinoa lunch bowl full of vegetables covered with lemon juice and fake cheese. I didn't poke fun at her lunch, and she ended up eating half of my chocolate, not vegan mud pie. She encouraged me to have some of her lunch bowl, but I politely declined while I went back to the deli for more coffee and a chocolate croissant, which she also helped me eat. We spent the afternoon outside, following the sun from the side of the building to the rear of the store, where there were more tables and chairs. We laughed and we cried as we often did when the topic of my son came up. She always apologized for not being in my life when he died. I had long ago made the choice to not hold resentment toward her and several others who weren't part of my life back then. Some because of not knowing, and others because they just couldn't handle the intensity that was my existence after his death. After a while, she became tired and said she needed a nap. I dropped her off at her adopted parents' home, and I learned the next day that she had had 2 strokes in a 6-hour period and was hospitalized. We visited her in the hospital, and with doctors reluctantly giving her the go sign, she flew back to Arizona within a week. We saw her a couple more times before she left. During the intervening years, we have had phone conversations, Zoom calls, text, emails, and instant messages. It had been getting more difficult to keep up with her health issues, another stroke, another tumor, another surgery. Making dates to connect was challenging, as she often slept most of the day as she recovered from various surgeries. Sometimes she'd just cancel at the last minute. Sometimes she'd forget, and sometimes she didn't have the juice to talk. In the past year or so, I've mainly kept in touch by text or email. Although at one point she asked me not to send any more emails and she found it difficult to read them. Text she could handle. She had her first grandchild last year, and again, our special closeness. She's the only friend I could tell I was envious because she was going to have a grandchild, while I, because of my son's death, never would. She heard me and she didn't judge. She let me cry and then asked if it would be okay if she was the proud grandma around me. Last week we got word from her daughter that Rini's in a nursing home, or in the correct language of today, a memory care facility. She had been experiencing signs of dementia and could no longer live at home. This deterioration has happened rapidly. She had just gotten in touch with me shortly before my surgery, and that's when I was still thinking that I just had a bad case of the flu. I texted I was really sick and I'd contact her when I got better. Her birthday is April 15th, so it's an easy one to remember most of the time, but this year I forgot. So a couple of weeks ago I sent her a belated birthday wish and said I was better and could we talk. I did not hear back, and I thought she was angry for some reason, maybe because I'd forgotten her birthday, and I figured she'd just get over it. And she called me earlier yesterday. Her speech was thick, like her tongue couldn't wrap around certain words. She wanted me to move in with her. She told me she bought and sold 2 houses. She told me she'd been kidnapped and was living in Texas. And then someone came into her room asking if everything was okay. Rini asked for 2 cups of coffee, one for her and one for me. Rini is slipping away and I am fucking powerless. She is the first of my friends who have symptoms of dementia. I feel for her daughter and family, and I selfishly think she is the friend I knew was always there no matter how long it had been in between connections. This aging process is wonderful, and I'm grateful for who I am today. On the other hand, I am not okay with how some of us go out. I think of Dylan Thomas's "Do not go gentle into that good night." I'm reading the first and last stanzas and ask forgiveness as I change one word in the last one to celebrate Rini. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my friend, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Thank you for listening while I try to process what is happening to my friend, my person. And if something I said has sparked a thought or insight for you, I'd love to hear about it. There's information in the description about how to send me a note, or just leave a comment on the video here if you'd rather. AC will make sure I get it. Now, I'm happy to say we're seeing new folks begin to find me here and my books on Amazon, and I believe that's because you are sharing our links with friends. I want to thank you for that and encourage you to continue doing so. It's essential that we keep growing our profile, and your recommendations are absolutely the best way to support that. So as we finish up this time, remember that YouTube counts everything. So if you'll give this video a thumbs up and click that red subscribe button, it's a big help. And we absolutely want to meet new readers this year. The address of my Amazon page is in the description below. All the Walkerville books are available to purchase in both Kindle and print editions. You'll find the direct link for next Wednesday's live chat in the description as well. Hope to see you then. Again, thank you so much for joining me.